Hey guys, it's Kinsey. I am back. I know that I did not end up uploading last week. Um, my laptop deleted my video ranting over Bring Me Your Hearts and Find Me Their Bones. And so, obviously, there wasn't a video for last week, but I am back. I am here at Jexie's house. It is Friday. I am filming. I wanted to leave this video open to talk about a book that I read this week that was given to me by Flatiron. And I had a different video planned, but as I started to read this book and I started to become more and more invested in it, I realized that it needed to be talked about. So I'm not exactly sure what the story is on Where the World Ends. I noticed on Goodreads that it is already technically out, but according to Flatiron, it does not come out until December of 2019, so next month. So this book can be yours to have, to hold, to own. So yeah, this book is not one that I would have picked up for myself in a million years. I'm very much a romance reader. I am very much a YA fantasy reader. I read a lot of fantasy. I read a lot of romance. I do read some contemporary here and there. I am not a giant historic fan. Like I don't really get into it. History was never my thing in high school. And this one is not based in like the US. It's in Herta, which I believe is off of Scotland. And it surrounds a group of men who travel to a different island to go fowling, to obviously get birds to eat, to use as tools, to use for a bunch of different reasons for their main island. And the ages of the boys range anywhere from like 10 to a 40-year-old man. And it's a dark read. There's a lot of... They end up getting stranded on the island, I guess is where I should probably start off by saying they get stranded on the island, nobody comes back for them. And it is literally a story of from them getting there until they finally get to make it home. And the darkness that comes with that, and you know, the snuffing out of hope because they've been there for so long and they run out of food at one point, and there's some pretty dark events that happen throughout the entire story. But one thing that I really loved about the book in general was the concept of being there for your fellow man, which I know is not a huge thing that we see in this day and age anymore. I feel like everyone is very out for themselves and is very much the kind of person who you want what's best for you, and you don't really think about what your choices do to the people around you and all that. We follow Quill, who is the main character, whose name is Quilliam, and he goes through all these different stages of staying busy is the way to pass time. He ends up being banished for... He's called a witch at one point by the self-proclaimed minister, and he ends up telling all these boys stories to kind of continue to pass the time. He gives them all jobs as keepers, like keepers of memories or keepers of the day, keeper of all of these things to just kind of keep their hope alive. And Quill is very much a strong component in why they survive, and I think that Quill is someone we should all strive to be in this world. And I'm just so shocked by this book in general, because I did not know going into it that it would be such a dynamic read in the way that Geraldine, and I'm going to say her last name wrong, but McCarran, she really takes you and puts you in the cave and puts you with them while they're fowling and helps you feel their emotions and their diminishing hope and the darkness that's coming in, and you feel the seasons change, and you're immersed in these kids' lives and these people's lives, and you really watch them lift each other up and give each other new life. And there are a few situations throughout the book in which people are in peril and people could die, and you see people be selfless and put others ahead of them. And it's just something that I don't feel like you see in the world as much anymore, and that's so sad. But I will say this flat out, this book was very dark in a lot of ways. There were a couple of moments where like I would turn to Ryan and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I just read this. This is very dark and very, there's some touching on suicide. There's some bullying. The book is very modern in a lot of ways. And it's so telling to see and know how it would be handled in this day and age versus how the characters themselves handle it sorry, I just wanted to move that really quick, in the situations that they're in. And that is just very telling as a person who wants to find the good in the world like I do and all of that. So yeah, I would never have picked this book up for myself. I don't read this kind of book often, but this book really just takes you to a place of self-reflection. It takes you to a place of looking at things in a different angle. I was so blown away by it, and I was so caught off guard by it that I had to make a video. And I've taken a lot in to kind of figure out what the process looks like now. But I will say this, as much as I pulled from this book, I enjoyed the lesson learned. It was a very, and I don't want to say a slow read because there's a lot of things that happen in it, but you literally go day by day by day by day. And part of me really liked that as a concept for this book because you felt like you were there. It was just another way that the author made you feel like you were a part of the equation. And some days it did drag because there wasn't a huge like problem that was involved or a huge thing that needed fixed or someone didn't almost die. But overall, this book was a very strong read for me, and I highly suggest it to anybody who needs to just kind of reevaluate. And it was something I didn't know I needed, which is kind of a cool thing. So I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars. I'm obviously making a video about it because I think that it needs to be more public. People need to know about this book. So my full review is obviously on my blog. I have a mini review on both Goodreads and Instagram. Please check them out. I hope you guys pick up this book when it comes out in December because it is truly a phenomenal read for somebody who's looking for a little bit different type of read. And I genuinely think that everyone will pull something different from it. So, and it's obviously a very powerful story of just self-preservation and the power of hope. So, I also, before I go, there is a giveaway running for this book. It will be running until Sunday at noon. So if you would like a copy of this book given to you by Flatiron, please, please, please do not hesitate to go enter my giveaway. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful Friday. I will try and refilm and get Find Me Their Bones and Bring Me Their Hearts rant up again because I still have so much passion for those books, and the video was funny, which sucks. So yeah, these pages take me places and I cannot wait to see where we go next. Thank you guys for coming back. I will see you next Friday.